Hi, my name is Zaida Azwani. Today I would like to present about Uffington White Horse. So the introduction. When it comes to getting a bird's eye view of you, there's a few places that benefit more than two ancient and mysterious sites on the very edges of Oxfordshire. The first one is also the oldest Uffington White Horse. Cut into the chalk of the hill and some 110 meters long, it's actually very difficult to view the entire horse from the ground. So you have to wonder the purpose of the horse actually was when it was first put together in the Bronze Age some 3,000 years ago. And it was created by digging deep trenches which were filled with crushed chalk. And quite possibility, it was constructed by the same tribe of people that many centuries later in the Iron Age created nearby Uffington Castle. This view was generally held by scholars even before the 1990s, based on the similarity of the horse design to comparable figures in Celtic art, and it was confirmed following a 1990 excavation led by Simon Palmer and David Miles of the Oxford Archaeological Unit. The Uffington is by far the oldest of the white horse figures in Britain, and is of an entirely different design from the others. So it has long been debated whether the chalk figure was intended to represent a horse or some other animals. So however, it was being called a horse since the 11th century at least.
Part 2. Culture and Mythology. Some researchers see the horse as representing the Celtic horse goddess Epona, who was worshipped as a protector of a horse and also had an association with the fertility. However, the cult Epona was imported from the Gaul, France, probably in the 1st century, which is when we find the first depiction of the horse goddess. This date is at least 6 centuries after the Uffington horse was carved. White horse is connected with the worship of Belinus or Belinus, a Celtic sun god often associated with the horse. The Celts were settled in Britain at the latest by the end of the Bronze Age. Then the white horse could be interpreted as a Celtic horse goddess symbol. An ancient dragon? There are some who believe that the great carving does not represent a horse at all, but a dragon, suggests that the horse depicts the mythical dragon slain by the Saint George. The blood of the dragon was supposed to have been spilled on the dragon hill, leaving a bare white chalk scar where to this day no grass will grow. St. George's connection with the white horse is a confused memory of a sum of strange prehistoric ritual performed on the Dragon Hill by its creators. The oldest Checkland engraving in the British Isles, the White Horse, at the Uffington dates from the Bronze Age and was the first etched into the landscape between 1200 and 70 BC. Measuring 110 meter by 38.5 meter, it is also the longest in the country. It was made by the digging curved trenches into the chalk hillside and then filling the trenches with the white chalk rubble formed from deep trenches filled with the crushed white chalk. The charismatic white form is visible from the distance of up to 30 km away and can be easily seen from the nearby Dragon Hill and the Didcot to the Swindon railway line. Its animal shape is commonly took to represent a horse.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hasyadi bin Zulkifli. My matrix number 202-111-6563. Part 4. Who created it? The beliefs. In an area that includes an Iron Age hill, fort and the place where Sir George purportedly slew his allegorical dragon, the Uffington White Horse is perhaps the most remarkable sight of all. Who built the Uffington White Horse? The earliest reference to the Uffington White Horse comes from the late 11th century, by which time it was already a well-established geographical feature. Thus, speculation abounded for centuries as to the origin of the Chalk Hill figure. Some suggested that it was created during the Anglo-Saxon era, either by King Alfred to celebrate his victory over the Danes in 871, or by Hengist, the first Saxon king, whose emblem was a white horse. Others more fancifully imagine that the figure had some connection to nearby Dragon Hill, representing either Sir George's horse or maybe even the legendary vanquished dragon. The threat, however, proved to be even more spectacular as silk dating conducted in 1990 found that the Uffington White Horse was made during the late Bronze Age, making it approximately 3,000 years old, by far the oldest known hill figure in England. Thank you.
So the conclusion see the white horse as connected with the worship of Belinus or Belinus, the Shining One, the Celtic sun god often associated with horses. So Bronze and Iron Age sun chariots, mythological representations of the sun in a chariot, were shown as being pulled by horses, as can be seen from the 14th century BCE example from Tundlum in Denmark. So, if, as is now believed, the Celts were settled in Britain at the latest by the end of the Bronze Age, then the white horse could still be interpreted as a Celtic horse goddess symbol. So that's it from us. Thank you. Bye.